First, survey the parking area. Persons with physical disabilities require accessible parking within 200 feet of an accessible entrance. A parking space with an adjacent access aisle provides room for a person to open a car door fully and to stand with the aid of a walker, transfer to a wheelchair, or lower a wheelchair lift. If you have not done so, check to see if accessible parking spaces already exist. Under the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act Accessibility Guidelines, ADAG, a specific number of accessible spaces are required based on a ratio of 2% of the total number of spaces in the entire lot. For parking areas that have a total of 1 to 25 parking spaces, there must be a minimum of 1 van accessible space with 1 adjacent access aisle. Both the van accessible parking space and the access aisle have to be 8 feet wide for a total of 16 feet. For parking areas that have 26 to 50 parking spaces, there must be 1 van accessible parking space with access aisle and an additional standard accessible space with access aisle for a car. A standard access aisle for the additional parking space is 5 feet wide. For an area with 51 to 75 parking spaces, an additional standard accessible parking space with access aisle must be available. For a parking area with 76 parking stalls or more, refer to the ADAG, Section 4.1.2. The height clearance of covered parking areas must be at least 8 feet 2 inches tall. The parking area surface must be stable, slip-resistant, clear of gravel, glass, rocks, or mud, and without potholes or bumps. The parking space and access aisle must also be level, with a maximum slope of 2%. All accessible parking spaces have a sign with the International Symbol of Accessibility, ISA, to indicate it is accessible for persons with physical disabilities. In addition, all van access aisles have a no parking sign and must be clearly posted. This is what the accessible parking sign looks like, with uppercase letters and the following measurements. The sign must be at least 80 inches above the ground, whether it is mounted on a wall or a post. Make sure a driver pulling into the space can clearly see it. If accessible parking already exists, use a tape measure to measure the width of each accessible parking space and access aisle to certify that they conform to ADAG specifications. Document your measurements if they do not. Before selecting a space to convert to accessible parking, determine if the parking space is level by using the Smart Level tool. Calibrate the Smart Level tool before you use it. Instructions on how to calibrate it will be found in the carrying case. The number of readings you will need depends on the size of the parking area. A bigger area will require more readings. Press the button to measure percentage. When the tool is placed on the ground, the area where it is placed must be clear of rocks and debris. Uneven surfaces cause the readings to be inaccurate. Measure the running slope and then the cross slope. Put the level on the ground, wait for the reading, and then record it. Next, check the condition of the parking surface to see if it is stable and slip resistant. Make sure all signage complies with both Hawaii state law and ADAG. Be sure it contains all necessary information and ensure that it is visible to the driver. If there are any questionable parking spaces, pictures should be taken documenting the space and what kind of problems need to be modified. The companion brochure, How to Design an Accessible Parking Space, is available for download from this site. It summarizes all state rules and federal regulations and provides all necessary specifications. Download it by going to the Parking for Persons with Disabilities page under Information/Brochures. Click on How to Design an Accessible Parking Space, print version.